Damien Gibson at full-back. Jamie Bloom, Dio Powell, David Bouveng and Ferretti to Ilangi on the wings. It's Chris Chester and Gavin Clinch at half-back. The forwards, where they'll really slug it out. Carl Harrison, the skipper, Paul Rowley and Richard Marshall, Gary Mercer and Des Clark, and Martin Moana, the Kiwi, at loose forward. And on the bench, Kelvin Skerrett, how he will be itching to get on. Martin Pearson, Simon Baldwin, and the same can be said for Martin Hall, formerly with Wigan. He will be dying to get involved in the action as soon as possible. The coach, of course, John Pendlebury, another man with great Wigan connections. Talking of Wigan, they have Radlinski at full-back. They're unchanged, actually, from Swansea last Sunday night. Robinson, Moore, Connolly and Bell, Paul and Tony Smith. Formidable, isn't it? Terry O'Connor, Robin McCormack, Tony Mestrov, the front row. Dennis Betts, Simon Horton, the second row. And Andrew Farrell is the captain and loose forward. And on the bench, Mick Cassidy, Stephen Holgate comes out of the wilderness. Lee Gilmore and Paul Johnson. The coach is John Money. Now then, who are the men to watch? Steve-O here, as usual, has his views.
It's somewhat ironic that this man was on the wanted list by the Wigan Warriors last season. But Paul Rowley finally decided to sign a new contract with Halifax. His decision to stay loyal to the Blue Sox has paid dividends this season. An emerging England call-up just 2 weeks ago, and a string of winning bonuses that's left his side in third position in Super League. Rowley's target must surely be a test place against the Kiwis in the autumn. But first, his main aim is to ensure they knock off the league leaders tonight. The mere fact Wigan were willing to fork out big money to snare him to Central Park indicates the respect they hold for his ability. Rowley's runs from dummy half have become a major feature for Halifax this year and should give John Money's boys plenty of problems. Halifax's problems are in trying to stop this big fellow from controlling the match. Andy Farrell's leadership qualities and ball skills give Wigan a distinct advantage over most opposition teams. But he can be shut down if they get into his face early on. Wigan have only lost twice this season, against Sheffield at Wembley and at Leeds in the Super League. And on both those occasions, the Warriors skipper was forced into the background. And I'm sure the Blue Sox coach John Pendlebury will be enforcing the same tactics. So keep your eye out for second rower Gary Mercer, who will be working overtime to tackle Farrell out of the game. If he and the others fail, then Wigan could run riot. They showed no mercy last week against the Saints and are in the mood to do exactly the same to Halifax.
Well, you get a feeling about certain matches during a Super League season, and I think that this will be one of the games of the year. Halifax against Wigan. The big question, Steve-O, is can Halifax match it with this Wigan team? Because, of course, we've already talked about them being channeled up the middle. We'll discuss that during the course of the game, I'm sure. Wigan are the best all-round side in Super League this year. They've lost only once. They boast the best attack, 79 tries, and the best defence, just 20 tries conceded so far. Gary Connolly's forged his reputation on defence, but what an all-round star he is. 10 tries, he's Wigan's leading scorer this year. Robin McCormack, the top tackler, they're top of the league, odds on for an appearance at Old Trafford in the grand final. An army of fans, and no wonder this is a team of all talent, a team of all stars, sweeping all before them bar Leeds this year. And in this second half of the season, of course, they take on Leeds again at Central Park. But Halifax, the surprise packets. They've won their last 3, 8 wins from their last 9. Their only defeat in that sequence was coincidentally at Leeds in June. But they've an awful record against Wigan, just 2 wins in 29 league games over the past 25 years. They've not beaten them previously in Super League. But they are the surprise packets of the competition. They're defending that unbeaten record on home soil. And what a turnaround after last year's traumas, particularly in the World Club Championship. They have the second best attack, and only Wigan and Leeds have conceded less tries. Welshman Dio Powell and Kiwi Martin Moana know where the try line is. Paul Rowley is their top tackle, the hooker. But that shocking record against the Wigan team in Super League, they've never beaten them and only won twice in the league football against them in 25 years. Out come Halifax, led by their mascots, Gareth Walmsley on the left, and young Benjamin Anderson, 5 years old, the little fellow. He is the son of the assistant coach Tony Anderson, and Ben knows that his nana and granddad are watching this telecast down under in Australia. Peter and Robin Anderson in Brisbane, and his favourite television personality says, young Ben, it's Steve-O. We better have a word with the young fella before we disappear tonight.
I learn when he gets older.
But Steve, what about the point about Wigan being channeled down the middle by Halifax? What do you think they will have in the locker to try and sort that out?
Well, I think Wigan and their coach John Mooney will have been working on the principle that Halifax will expect a real rough, tough affair, and it would not surprise me if Wigan go full out in trying to keep this ball alive. Missing the man out, quick play the ball, and a long ball straight away out to the three-quarter line.
We shall see. Steve Ganson is the youngest referee in the Super League, only 27 years of age. He will have to be on top of his game. Phil Clark there in the glasses, former great Wigan star. Seated behind him, of course, John Mooney, the Wigan coach, and something's obviously amused Mr. Mooney on his way to his seat in the back row of the stand. So we're just about ready, and it's the Halifax Blue Sox against the Wigan Warriors here at the new Shea. Wigan with the best winning sequence in the game. Halifax unbeaten on this ground since they moved uptown from Thrum Hall. Steve Ganson's ready, blows the whistle, Clinch gets us underway. This could be one of the games of the season. Mestrov drives it in. What a reception committee for Mestrov. Clark and Rowley leading the chase on him. This now is Mark Bell. He takes the tackle. John Pendlebury, the Halifax Blue Sox coach, will have been pleased with that early charge after the kickoff, and Andy Farrell kicking early in the tackle count. He's turned Damien Gibson round. Gibson's made a meal of it, and the Wigan wall has arrived.
Quick thinking there by Wigan and their skipper, Andrew Farrell. There's a mistake from the full-back. That's what they needed, and now you can see that Halifax struggling within their own quarter. Kicking early in the tackle count. Good ploy. The fullback was not expecting it. He had to turn around.
Here's Gary Mercer, veteran of many battles against Wigan in his time. Paul Rowley is the dummy half. Carl Harrison, Wigan the caught offside. There's the dreadful run that Halifax have got against Wigan over the past 25 years. Just the one victory here on home soil. Not at this ground, of course, but up the road at Thrum Hall.
Well, there are plenty to choose from there. The official Steve Ganson, obviously both sides eager to get involved in himself. Robbie McCormack was one off the mark very quickly.
Harrison with the first drive on this set of 6. Rowley at dummy half. He flicks it into the arms of Des Clark. Good defence though from Wigan. Betts in there quickly. O'Connor was in there. Tony Smith also. Rowley again, the dummy half for Halifax. He finds Clinch. Clinch then to Chester. Chester then hands it on to Moana, who tries to duck under the tackle. Can't do so. Rowley to Clinch. Now Marshall with the drive. Betts and O'Connor stand their ground again.
Good switch of play by Halifax, running the angles, but the Wigan defence are hanging back. They're not being fooled yet.
Clinch, lovely ball to Chester. Chester looked over his right shoulder. There was nobody there. Last tackle. Mercer into the arms then of Rowley. Rowley wide to Moana. Moana will score! What a start for the Halifax Blue Sox! What a start for these supporters! And Halifax take the lead, courtesy of the try from Martin Moana, and Wigan were opened up down the middle.
Well, the switches of play, it appeared that they were not troubling the Wigan defence, but it did on this occasion. They got themselves into a position. Rowley out wide, through the dummy there. Smith went through. Mestrov was very slow to fill in. But wonderful play the ball there. Mercer from the dummy half got it out wide. The hooker fed this guy back on the inside. He's happy, and why not? What a start for the Blue Sox. You can see the Wigan defence was slow to get back. That came about from a quick play of the ball. Mercer got in. Watch how Rowley just runs and runs the angle. Sucks the player in. Keep your eye out now as the man that goes out wide. Moore's going. So is the halfback, Tony Smith. Mestrov failed to get anywhere near. Bredlinski had no chance.
Well, he's in a great vein of form is Martin Moana, who got 12 tries last year, including one against Wigan at Central Park. Early crisis then for Andy Goodway and John Money. This is Jamie Bloom in the side because John Bentley is out injured, and the man with the kicking responsibility here, South African international, and he's missed it. That could be crucial. I think Bloom knows it too.
Come on, they all come from a penalty. Don't fall in the same trap.
Smith's in the circle going out wide. Look at the right arm saying fill in the gap. Mestrov in the square. Didn't. No chance for Redlinski. The loose forward Moana sets the share light.
Yes, great try, great start for Halifax, but the only blot is the fact that Jamie Bloom missed with the conversion attempt. They've had a dreadful run with kickers. Martin Pearson, of course, is their regular kicker, I suppose. He is on the substitutes bench and waiting to come on. Bloom, though, with the responsibility early, and he's missed with that first. Whoa, mistake from Horton.
Well, that's the move that brought Andy Farrell a try last week against Saints. See how they run with their arms up, trying to give the impression that they're going to be the dummy runner. The only problem is that Horton thought he was. Real mix-up there, especially within your own quarter. Added pressure, so unlike Wigan to make a mistake.
Moana again from the base of the scrum, and he's taking them on out wide. That's Danny Moore and Jason Robinson. They get to him. The tackle is completed. Bloom was the dummy half. Here's Mercer again. Good strong run from Mercer. Well, Halifax are full of themselves at the moment. Marshall wanted it and got it. Great drive to the line. Desperate Wigan defence. Haul him back. Rowley, dummy half. Clinch. Then it goes out wide, and a chance here for Des Clark. Was it? Clark flicks the pass back. Here now is Chester. Chester gets another. Oh, can you believe this start for Halifax? Chester with the second try. The Halifax supporters are dancing. Chris Chester. Wigan were opened up again, and Chester was over. His fifth of 1998. And John Pendlebury passing the message down. No doubt one of the words he's using, one of the phrases he's using, calm down.
Once again, quick playing the ball, that's the key. Got out wide. They really into pass here. Look how the halfback clinched through the dummy back on the inside. Running the angle, the sheer strength here. Clark couldn't get anywhere near to it. And then you can see how he sucks in, gets offload. Three defenders on the floor. And he was every there a chance back on the inside. They were so confused. This Wigan defence has shot to ribbons. What an opening by the Blue Sox.
Well, Chris Chester and now Jamie Bloom with the conversion attempt. Well, he's had one dress rehearsal for this, if you like, a little closer maybe, but it's from a very similar angle that he missed with his earlier kick. And this to give Halifax a 10-point lead here. That looks better, but he's shaved the other side of the post this time. Two kicks missed, but two tries. 8-0, the Blue Sox lead.
The dummy and the spin from the Australian clinch. You can see how it's brought in the two dummies, and the defenders are sucked through. And once they're squeezed in, 3-on-1, Clark offloads. There's four men in attendance to Clark. There was always going to be a breach here. And it was Chester that took the 4 points.
Chester with the try. The move, though, started by Martin Moana. And Martin Moana is a man with a point to prove. He's played under Money at the Auckland Warriors, and he never really got a chance in the Australian competition under John Money at Auckland. But my word, he has stamped his mark on this match already. And look at that, Wigan have missed 5 tackles already. Halifax faultless so far. That's an unusual statistic so early in the match.
Full credit, though, that's been brought about by the fact that Halifax are playing the ball quickly, and they're also running the angles. They're confusing this defence. The first couple of minutes, Wigan were hanging back and not being sucked into the ball carrier. From there on in, they're running around chasing him.
The kick from Farrell's not one of his best, straight into the arms of Tuilangi. Here's the power play from Tuilangi. Connolly got to him, held onto his shirt tails. He was finished off then by Mark Bell. Bouveng was the dummy half. Gibson now, the fullback for Halifax, just chiming into the line.
Again, a quick play of the ball. They really are keen, Halifax, on that department.
Rowley with a little half break, and it was desperate defence from Mestrov and Smith. They got back to him, but only just. Gibson to Harrison. Harrison will trundle that ball forward again. Now Rowley, here's Clinch. Chester's wide of him, further wide is Moana. Moana taking them on again, and he almost got through Paul, but Connolly came in as reinforcement. Clinch again, Mercer. Mercer dropped that ball.
That'll be play on.
Horton picks it up, it will be play on.
Well, Clark trying to get this ball away in an impossible situation. It came off for them. They scored the second try by doing that. 4 men attracted to the big fella Clark. Tried to do the same, but they came up with a football from Horton. And this is calm down time now for the Wigan Warriors.
Well, it's calmed down for Wigan, but I think we saw John Pendlebury after they got the second of their quick tries for Halifax, and I'm sure that was the message as well that came out from him. Let's just steady the ship now with the 8-point lead.
Well, even though you've scored 2 tries, often if you get too much adrenaline pumping through, it can let you lose your common sense. Oh, that's an awful mistake there from Betts. He went without the package. It played at the counter and forgot to take the vegetables.
Well, Dennis Betts, an uncharacteristic error from him. Here's Des Clark again. Every time he gets it, Des Clark, you'll notice in the opening 9.5 minutes here, he's got the ball and he spun as he took the tackle. Look for the support. Moana now.
Halifax players looking to turn in the tackle at all times.
Harrison with the drive to the line. Great tackle by McCormack and Betts. Rowley, out wide it goes. Powell slides the kick through. Robinson, a good call from Radlinski. He just said leave it. And Radlinski allows it to run dead in goal.
Nerves of steel there by the fullback Radlinski to shout out to the winger Robinson. That really was a super little chip through. Man under pressure is John Money. He knows there's still plenty of time in this game for his Chargers to get back into it.
O'Connor did well then, found McCormack. McCormack then to the live wire, Tony Smith. 2 tries, of course, from Smith against St Helens last Sunday in Swansea. And Radlinski likewise. Farrell was on the score sheet too, as was Connolly. Lovely ball from him to Bell. Bell cuts in field, goes round Clinch. Beautiful pass and Radlinski. A magnificent try. Oh, that was out of the top draw from Wigan. Bell with the break. Support on his inside, and Radlinski accepted the gift and was over under the sticks.
Outstanding play, what a time to come back. Deep within their own quarter. Radlinski started it. Funnel out wide. Look at the superb pass there to the winger Bell from Connolly back on the inside. The man who'd offloaded on the first occasion finishes up with a 4. This is turning out to be a classic. Best way to attack is deep from within. They just relax. You can see back on the inside. 2 went for Connolly. That left the gate open for Bell and Radlinski. Great support play. Outstanding rugby league football. Wonderful pass there, but it all came about by 2 men going for Connolly. It left the opening on the inside and Bell took it.
Halifax fans watching that on the big screen believe it was a forward pass, the last one, but never in a million years. Farrell from bang in front then. Kicks the goal, and the deficit is significantly reduced. Halifax 8, Wigan 6.
Centre in the wingman, look, you can see they all went there for Connolly, back on the inside, already has the ball. Bell, but look at Radlinski back on the inside. Superb vision there from the fullback. What a game.
Well, Radlinski with the try. Radlinski restarts the match. Wigan, their season has been built on defence. Just 20 tries conceded in the 14 rounds prior to this match. Watertight. That's what makes them odds on for the grand final. But in the opening 12 minutes here, Halifax have pierced them twice.
Takes a wonderful side like the Wigan outfit to come back at you like that. When normally when you're 8 points adrift, you play safety first in your own quarter, but not the Wigan outfit these days. They kept that ball alive. We said before the game they cannot afford to be involved in a tough-it-out competition down the middle. Keep the ball alive. Oh, what a great run from the hooker.
Rowley gets the pass out wide. Powell back on the inside it goes. Ball's put down.
Crowd thinking that Rowley was taken out before he had possession for the inside pass. I'm not so sure. I think he was taken out as soon as he got the football. Powell did well there on the inside. Well, Terry O'Connor was all over the top. It was a 50-50 call. I think the ref got it right, though.
Here's Farrell. Danger always when Farrell has the ball in his hands. Henry Paul, the dummy half. He had a great game in Swansea, didn't he? Mestral flicks the pass away. Robinson. Here's Smith. Almost through the defence of Moana, but Rowley was there as the reinforcement. McCormack. Henry Paul. Connolly. Saw a gap. Spilled the ball forward.
Offside.
Whoa, and Marshall came across and really dropped on Bell.
Not happy with it, the winger, either. Takes it at all part and parcel of the game. Connolly tried to squeeze his way through. They weren't going to be beaten on that occasion. Tuilangi got to him.
Well, Bell could have been done for offside there because he was in front of the man Connolly when he picked up the football.
To be fair to the referee, Steve Ganson, I think he'd already called and blown for the knock-on. Well, the pace of this game, it's got to pay its price soon. Surely they can't keep this up for the full 80.
Here's Bouveng. Tony Smith standing tall. Chester. The runner was Clark. Again, he's turning, you see, looking for support. There was none there on that occasion. Rowley. Clark.
Good work by the first and second markers there. Has that been a problem for the Wigan defence? But not on that occasion. The crowd thought he was offside and moved out of position. What a great kick.
Super kick. Blooms after this, but it just beats them all.
Well, again, they feel that there's a bit of a problem out there. Jason Robinson, that's a second occasion.
Amazing, Steve-o, the number of teams that kick to Robinson's corner.
Well, they often feel that he has a problem. And to be fair, by his own admission, he feels that he's not hit the high spots yet.
Halifax have it back. This is Mercer.
Well, another mistake there.
Rowley to clinch. Look for Harrison, went the other way. Found Moana. Shrugs off McCormack. Still going, Moana. What a start this fella's having. Rowley again. Clinch. Clinch has to take the tackle, and Henry Paul could have been penalised. Long ball out wide to Clark again. Good ball to Bouveng. And Bouveng is held up in the field of play. Desperate defence. The referee goes to the screen. He wants to know whether Bouveng got that down.
He's held up on his back. It was a third tackle. He's held up on his back. It's just a scrum. Just check it out. Okay, Faz.
Well, there's never any chance of a try. I think he just wants to see whether the ball may have just squeezed through there. Not a bad call there by Ganson. Amongst all those bodies, a little white thing that we call a ball may have just popped on the line, but not in my opinion. But good run there by David Bouveng. And again, we see that this Wigan defence is stretched. They really are in panic at the moment. Well, this looks to me as though it's going to be head and feed to Halifax.
No try, and it's a 10-metre scrum to the attack, so the video referee agreeing with Steve Ganson. Bouveng was held up over the line, on his back, so head and feed go to the Halifax Blue Sox. Another big opportunity then here for Halifax, and Clinch goes the short way.
Tried to use the referee, Ganson there, so clever, nearly came off.
Chester. This is Gibson. Connolly wraps him up. Magnificent on defence, Gary Connolly. Not bad on attack either. But at the moment, Wigan under the cosh. Bouveng plays the ball to Rowley. Here's Clinch. Harrison takes it over. Harrison flicks the ball back then to Chester. Chester thought he was through, but Connolly and Radlinski had other ideas.
He probably would have been, but Connolly, one of the upper body men, got great strength as Connolly.
He's there again to deny Gary Mercer. Rowley to Clinch. Wide and it goes to Moana. Wigan stretched here. Bouveng dabs it through. Big race on. Again, Robinson takes the gamble. Powell was after it, but it was just too long.
Talk about ice cool through Robinson's body. Oh, dearie me, that was so close yet again. Martin Moana wasn't too far off that.
Narrow in goal, Steve-o, as well.
Full credit, though, to John Pendlebury. The tactics against Wigan so far have been outstanding. running the angles, running off the ball, dummy runners, and also utilising the kick on the last.
We saw that John Money has made a change, bringing Lee Gilmore in, but John Pendlebury at the moment staying with what he has got. McCormack is the dummy half. Smith, good ball back on the inside to Farrell. What a great run from Farrell. Well watched by Mercer. Well, this is a great game. We've got another one in prospect on Sunday, Warrington against London, where top 5 is very much on the agenda. Join us for that, Sky Sports 1, Sunday at 6 o'clock. High kick, Tester here for Gibson. He took it well. He took a clatter too.
Well, the big fella Danny Moore was coming on to top of him. Just a little bit too then. I think he's caught a knock in the mouth.
I don't think he knows where he is.
Oh, I think maybe. Oh, it's a knee. It's a knee in the ribs, and he's having convulsions. He could not get enough air. The oxygen inside. It often occurs there if you hit anywhere around the rib cage. It sort of sends a shock through your body, and the lungs sort of contract. You have to struggle to get the oxygen in. You could see he was in a lot of discomfort. There's
brave take too.
There's a knee coming in. It was accidental. There's no doubt that Danny Moore didn't have any intent on there. You just panic somewhat when you have a problem with not getting enough oxygen.
Damien Gibson sent for the stretcher. Maybe he will take a breather. This is his 4th match in a row at fullback, where of course he played with such distinction last year for Leeds. It was a brave take, wasn't it? Must have heard the thundering hooves of the Wigan players coming at him.
It was a good kick and a good chase.
They're pretty concerned about him as well, the Halifax supporters. And Gibson would be well advised to take a breather on the line. John Pendlebury passing on the plan. If Gibson has to come off, and by the looks of things he does have to come off, and I think it is going to be Martin Pearson who's going to come on.
I'll be going all the way
That's
back.
a sad loss, because Gibson has been playing exceptionally well. He's made a great fist of handling the full-back position.
Pearson's the man on, and of course Pearson was the full-back for Halifax until he lost his place. He was injured, and then the Halifax team doing so well without him that John Pendlebury has found it tough to bring him back. But sympathetic applause from the crowd at the new shave for Damien Gibson, taken from the field on a stretcher. Let's hope he's okay. This meanwhile is Gary Mercer as play continues now. To Ilangi.
Well, Halifax have had most of the possession and the opportunities, of course, but there you see on the scoreboard, Wigan are only 2 points adrift. And what you mentioned earlier, Eddie, about the fact that they've struggled to find a regular and accurate goal kicker could be their downfall.
Well, they've all had a bash. Martin Pearson's kicked a goal, so too has Gavin Clinch, so too has Chris Chester, so too has Jamie Bloom, who's missed with the first 2 here. We'll have to see whether John Pendlebury has made not only a change in the full-back role, but also in the kicking department now. We'll see.
Well, the open field kicker is Gavin Clinch, and that was a good one.
It's been all Halifax, hasn't it? First half. But they'll be worried, as you say, that they're only 2 points ahead.
Rather better than having 2 points behind, but Wigan know that they're in for a contest. They knew that in the opening minutes when Man Mawana went through.
Harrison's penalised, wouldn't get off Simon Horton.
Well, there's no complaint. He didn't allow the second row any chance to get on with the game. It's a ploy that Halifax want to do, of course. That's been the problem with Wigan in the opening 19 minutes, is the fact that they've failed to slow Halifax down. It's been a great feature so far from the Blue Sox, is their ability to play the ball quickly.
Dennis Betts drives Wigan into the 20-metre zone. Gary Connolly scampers into dummy half and sets off on a run. Marshall was the man who got to him. This now is Tony Smith, round the back of the referee to Farrell. He finds Radlinski. Radlinski tries to get away from Bouveng, who does well. 10 metres from the line, Bell, Betts. Straightens it up, Dennis Betts, takes the tackle, that's the last. McCormack Back to Farrell. To nobody in particular. Loose ball, though, is collected by Paul, who hoists the kick.
It's a good one, too.
And Pearson. Now then, was it Pearson knock on or Paul? And Henry Paul says it was Pearson who got to it. And he's the man who's come up with the mistake.
It was in the air, wasn't it? And that would have to be classified as a knock-on by Pearson. Well, not a great start for the sub, who's come on for the injured Damien Gibson. More pressure to absorb. Pretty hard, but I think you'll find that.
Here's Henry Paul. Henry Paul's jinked inside them and got a try. Henry Paul puts Wigan back in the front. It all came from the mistake from Pearson. But was Pearson airborne at the time that he was tackled by Robinson? And if that is the case, that should have been a penalty to Halifax.
No, he wasn't going for the tackle. He was attempting to go for the ball, so therefore it cannot be classified as making the tackle. You'll see that he's got his eyes on the football. Not once did he make any attempt to try to push Pearson out of the way. So that was a fair call by the referee. But from this mistake, they allowed the halfback far too much room, and he just threw a little bit of a jink. The simplest of tries, but it's such class. This is where it all started, allowing the halfback to run so much. Twinkle toes, Henry Paul. Wigan take the lead. They don't need much, don't need many chances, but they take them.
New Zealand international linked with Auckland, and so the newspapers would have us believe the Bradford Bulls as well, because of course he's out of contract at the end of this year, and it hasn't escaped the notice of many people that Greg Florimo is on his way over to Wigan from Australia. But Henry Paul at the moment playing on top of his game. Big crowd behind Farrell as he lines up the sights for this kick. Farrell doesn't miss those. And suddenly, from 8-0 down, Wigan hit the front, 12-8.
See the loose forward circle, Moana, who's come on to the right. You cannot allow the halfback to run so far. Look, there's three men going there. They go across on the cover, throws a dummy, little shimmy. Three get fooled. 4 points taken.
Lovely sidestep from Henry Paul. Gary Mercer, soccer style. Oh, and a mistake from Mercer. Oh, dearie me. In the last 7 or 8 minutes, the wheels have dropped off Halifax.
Well, two bad mistakes, and all of a sudden, you're looking down the barrel.
2 errors, 2 tries in 10 minutes for Wigan. You cannot give Wigan such luxuries as mistakes like that. Here's Radlinski. They're attacking down the short side with Connolly. Harrison gets almost wearily to his feet. Mestral. Now it's a test of the Halifax defence.
Out, Paul, out.
McCormack is the dummy half. Here's Dennis Betts, and he drops it. Is that the second mistake from Dennis Betts tonight?
I think you'll find it is. And it's come at a bad time, and he knows it. They really weren't on the rack for the first 15, 16 minutes, and full credit to Wigan, they fought back. Mainly due to the fact that Halifax have come up with 2 mistakes just like that. And that'll be a relief for John Pendlebury.
But look where Wigan make the mistakes, 10 metres from the Halifax line. Wigan have suddenly steadied the ship, haven't they, in the last 10-15 minutes? And the handling error count is beginning to level up. Marshall. Good drive. We've got news, Steve-O, of Damien Gibson from Bill.
The Blue Sox full-back is back on his feet. Well, he's sitting on the Blue Sox bench at the moment. The doctor diagnoses very badly bruised rib cartilage, and yet he could be ready to come back for the second half. He was very badly winded indeed.
Brave lad if he comes back after that. Clinch under pressure from McCormack. Not the best kick. It's straight into the arms eventually of Radlinski. And Radlinski will relaunch another Wigan attack. Chester got to him though with a tackle. Paul to Robinson.
As you mentioned, not the best kick there. Thankfully the chase was good. It's important now that Halifax keep on the momentum, not go into a negative mode. They've got to keep doing the angle running from dummy half from Rowley. Mix and match. They've got to keep trying to confuse this Wigan defence.
Mestrov to Smith, under pressure from Harrison, but he got a great ball away to Farrell just the same.
Great tackle from Mercer on Andy Farrell. It's obvious that the second rower, that's his job, to keep Andy Farrell quiet. Not easy.
Gilmore tackled by Mercer as well. McCormack dummy half. Smith, Paul. Steps inside this time into a brick wall. Farrell, this is on the last. Not the best kick from Farrell. Bloom waits for it. And here now comes Jamie Bloom of the Blue Sox. Almost got away from Horton. Farrell was there. Tuilangi. Big favourite, Tuilangi, on the terraces here at the New Shea. Freddie, they call him. Bloom now, over halfway.
Good work there, combination. Bloom first, then he went through Tuilangi, then Bloom again. Sharing the work.
Here's Skerrett, just on. Both prop forwards spelled by John Pendlebury. Big effort from them in the opening 26 minutes. Moana, back to Clinch. Here now is Clark. Owen Clark thought about releasing that pass then. That's a little chip over the top from Boubeng. It's a great chip. And now then, here's a decision, I think, for the video ref.
I think he did the whitewash before anybody got there.
Boubeng claiming
Just
the
check
try.
if the Halifax player actually scored a try, or
And
whether Wigan forced the ball dead, in which case it's a dropout.
Well, you've
I
heard
think Wigan
everything.
forced it dead.
Wigan did force it dead.
I think he hit the line first anyway. Just now, before our hand gets on it. Either way, it's the same result, but good thinking there by Boubeng. Beautiful opportunities there. Neat little kick. You could see that the winger bell was out of position, and he did well to get back there. This will be no try.
No try, and it will be a 20-metre place kick because it hit the line, which is out before Mark Bell got his hand to it. Had Mark Bell forced it over, winning the race with Boubeng, it would have been a dropout from underneath the sticks. Radlinski to Farrell. Here they come again. But that's good defence. Moana and Boubeng. Well, Simon Horton takes a breather, and Mick Cassidy comes on for Wigan. Here's Mestrov, tackled by Rowley and Skerrett. Don't forget, Steve-O returns with the Academy League Tuesday, Sky Sports 3 at 6. The Academy League, of course, the men of the future who will carry the game into the new millennium, aiming for skills like this on show from Wigan and Halifax.
Good play by Wigan there. They're doing exactly what Halifax did in the opening minutes. Quick play of the ball, good support.
Measured kick from Radlinski. Tuilangi claims it though, out of the arms of Connolly.
What a tremendous take there. Ferretti Tuilangi. Plucked it out of there. It's like taking an apple off the tree.
Here's Tuilangi again now. Taking on Connolly and getting Halifax to halfway.
That's a
and
penalty.
Connolly penalised.
Didn't like it, Connolly, but Tuilangi worked hard for this penalty. You could see there that he had a second bite. Tuilangi didn't have to go through the theatrics to get this relieving penalty. It's a vital 12 minutes, isn't it, before the half-time siren?
Well, it is. It always is when Wigan are playing. They never give up the ghost till they hear the siren. And a try here for Halifax will be just what Dr. Pendlebury ordered. This is Baldwin now. Rowley at dummy half to Des Clark. Tackled by Cassidy. 2 tackles gone. Rowley, the 10 metres short of the line. Clinch juggling with it. The runner was Skerrett. Skerrett, of course, who knows just about every one of these Wigan players. Rowley to Clinch. Clinch looks for Mercer on the run. And Mercer, what a tackle from McCormack that was. He gets the penalty though, Mercer. McCormack wouldn't let him go.
They'll take the 2, surely.
No.
Will he go to the
defence
sin bin?
was back.
What a tackle though from the hooker there. But you can see he held him down.
Well, I've seen them sin bin for less.
Well, it was a professional foul, a couple of metres away from the in-goal area. Wouldn't have anything of it, Steve Ganson, and not surprisingly, Halifax will take a vital 2 points because they know it's the problem that they've got within their side, especially long-range efforts to take the conversions and the penalties that come their way. But this is virtually in front. This should be 2.
Well, Pearson has cracked over 29 goals this year, former under-20 national, under-21 international, and you can see the angle he's got. It should be pretty straightforward. But in this game, you say things like that at your peril. Ah, well, I'd have put the house on him. Pearson with 2 points. Halifax 10, Wigan 12.
Well, I'd have gone for a bungalow. I don't know about the house, the way that they've been kicking throughout the season. But that could prove to be a vital 2 points. And he knows it too. And so does the coach, John Pendlebury. Remember, they failed to convert the 2 tries, but what a tremendous tackle. It was a professional foul, and I think that the hooker, Robbie McCormack's quite fortunate to still be out there.
Mestrel gives it to Gilmore. Strong run from Gilmore. Well, Mercer is matching fire with fire here. He's having a wow of a game. The Halifax second row. This is Paul.
And they can't allow this fella, Henry Paul, any more room. He hasn't had many opportunities, but the times that he's done it, he's created a lot of problems in the Halifax defence. Every time he gets the football, they just hesitate. Can't afford to do that. They've got to shut him down quickly.
9 minutes to half-time. Wigan in possession with Betts. Good tackle by Baldwin. Had to be 2. Betts was through. Here's Tony Smith. Another high kick. Another tester here for Pearson. Robinson does well. He palms it back to Cassidy. That's Gilmore. Out wide it goes. Here's Connolly. Connolly flicks it back to Smith. Smith drops it. Halifax will have it back. That was the last. It's the turnover.
On the last, trying to keep the ball alive. Well, what a game this is turning out to be. We had a great start, then the fight back from Wigan. And I mentioned earlier that surely these 2 teams can't keep this pace up throughout their full 80.
Well, they're keeping it up so far. The pot's boiling. This is Rowley. Rowley then to Clark.
They've got him sorted out now early in the match. Clark was spinning in the tackle, offloading, but now 2 men are going there. One low, one making sure that they get his arms so he can't offload to a support player.
Rowley, another scampering run. Flicks the pass wide. Chester further wide to Dio Powell. Still Dio Powell. He's escaped the clutches of 1 and 2. Out wide it goes to Bloom. And Bloom for the corner.
He's lost it.
He lost the ball.
He was short first time. It went behind him. And I think he took it again and then lost it again.
Danny Moore's got it.
Well, he had 2 attempts there. Well, good scrambling defence. He went for the line and lost it, then went back to try to get it again and then lost it even more.
What a tackle from Robinson that was.
Well, they've claimed it's a forward pass or a knock-on somewhere in there. Either way, I think you'll find it's a knock-on.
Come on, concentrate.
There he hits the ground and the body rolls over. He loses possession. It pops up there. Bloom sees it and said, I'll have another go for it.
So close, Halifax, to a priceless try. Wigan in possession, though, with Farrell, and here's Connolly. Good defence.
But what a great run from Powell. Showed all the strength. He's having a big season as a big centre, Dio Powell. Big opportunity missed there. It was a superb pass out wide to Jamie Bloom.
McCormack, oh, he went a bit high then. Did Kelvin Skerritt, just slapped at the head of the Wigan hooker. Farrell. Good tackle by Baldwin on halfway. Last tackle for Wigan. This is Henry Paul. Another high kick, another tester here for Pearson. Pearson collects and then has to take the tackle from Cassidy.
Good high kick there. You could see how it allowed the chasers to get up there. Not allowing any time for Pearson to go anywhere. Oh, straight defence that.
Tuilangi was almost through. He got away from Robinson, but he couldn't get away from Danny Moore. There's Jamie Bloom. Quick play the balls. This match being played at breakneck pace. Penalty against Wigan. Mercer got it there by trying to struggle to his feet.
Well, Cassidy all over the top, so was the hooker, Robbie McCormack. in top form is a hooker. The Australian McCormack. He's one of the major reasons I feel that Wigan have been on song of late.
Don't forget to join us for World of Super League. Sky Sports 3, Wednesday at 8. We look back at this weekend, look ahead at what's to come next weekend. Some great matches in the next 9 rounds. And of course all the best of the Australian action from the NRL down under. This meanwhile is Bouveng. To Ilangi now. Just couldn't get away from Connolly and Paul. Rowley, dummy half. Clinch. Moana started like a house on fire. Does well again. So did Clark to pick that up. He flicks it back to Mercer. Mercer's a danger man. Gets away from them. Moana takes over again. No progress for Halifax, but Wigan committed to 3 or 4 tackles then. And now, Mick Cassidy's on to the sin bin.
Someone has to go. That's 3 on the trot there from Wigan.
Not Mestrov, it's Cassidy.
Hang on. Wait.
Well, you can see that Cassidy interfering. Also gave a bit of a facial there. Holding the head and holding him down again. Well, I'm not so sure that he actually had much intent of ripping it out, but either way there was a little bit of a facial given. Certainly stopping the man from playing the football anyway. And this could be interesting times now for the Wigan side, down to 12. Halifax have to really make sure they get points on the board, as well as these 2 that's on offer.
Yes, Pearson is just about bang in front, 20 metres out. He's missed the last 3, Pearson, but he has found the mark with that kick, and the scores are level. Halifax 12, Wigan 12. The match that's living up to all its pre-match hype here. John Pendlebury, the Halifax Blue Sox coach.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? There's John Money also not too impressed. He knows that his side was put on the rack early. Full credit to them get back, and also full credit there. It's amazing, isn't it? Damien Gibson went off injured, and so they had to bring off the bench Martin Pearson. But John Pendlebury may be perhaps happy in the end of this match that he does have the goal-kicking skills of Pearson out there now.
Well, indeed. The boot of Pearson has got them back to level pegging with 2.5 minutes to go. Now it's vital for the Halifax cause they defend this attack with vigour, because we have seen so often Wigan strike just before the half-time siren. And how often has it been this fellow, Andy Farrell, who's led the way? Clark with the tackle, and now Baldwin is penalised for the second effort. And Farrell takes a quick penalty.
Quick thinking there from the Wigan skipper, Farrell. You could see that Baldwin were messing about. If it's good enough for one side, it has to be for the other too.
Oh, he's dropped it.
Penalty. Oh, is it a knock-on?
Mestrov dropped it.
Well, I think that a little hand was in there, 2-on-1. And when Powell went in, well, maybe he was losing it before Powell made contact.
He was. It was 1-on-1 to begin with.
Well, there's Clinch. Yep.
Maybe it's the knock-on against Halifax. Who's got head and feed?
Well,
Halifax out.
Well, Mestrov came up with the football again. Clinch did pull it out 1-on-1, but he didn't get possession.
Mercer.
Well, that could be a vital little incident within this game.
Skerrett punched the cheeks out, and Gilmore stood his ground. But he felt that, did the youngster. Baldwin now.
Full credit to Gilmore, though. He stood his ground, as you mentioned. He was on the rampage, wasn't he, Kelvin Skerrett? Would love nothing better than to pick up winning bonus against his old club.
Is this a rehearsal for the grand final? October 24th at Old Trafford. If you want any information, ring Super League Europe 0113 234 4455. I think Skerrett's come up with a blunder.
Has he ever?
Stay away, just a minute to go.
Not much you can say about that, with only seconds remaining, but I get the impression now that Wigan will feed this ball and it will be a kick and rush.
Well, half a minute to go. Here's Paul. Danny Moore. Good tackling by Powell. Oh, and Powell nearly stole the ball then. and it would have been 2-on-1. It bounced in front of Betts, that pass. Skerritt got to him and he had a little word in the ear of Dennis Betts then. Wonder what he said. Smith looks wide, and that was Farrell on the charge. He wasn't too impressed with the pass, was he?
You've got to think about the kick soon.
McCormack, and here's Gilmore. That's the half-time siren, and Halifax survive up to half-time. They stretched Wigan all the way in the opening 5 or 10 minutes. They led 8.